Hey there, and welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to give you an update on where I'm at with the bike and the warranty repairs. So sorry it's been a long time. I've just been flat out with work and life in general, and I haven't had a chance to put a video out. But basically last time we caught up was just after I got back from Perth, and I'd noticed that I had 3 cracks in the fairing here. So there was one that joins this piece on, so this bolt is essentially floating at the moment, and then these 2 here, you can see crack there, and this whole chunk, this is missing a huge chunk of plastic there. And also that my fuel sensor had been really on and off again after getting it replaced in, I think it was April, maybe March, April. I think it was April, just before I left on my trip to cross to Perth. And it played up 2 times on my way to Perth, and that was it. And then since I've got it back, it's probably playing up maybe about 50% of the time. And sometimes that can go from like I'll fill up a full tank, which is usually, it says I've got about 350 kilometers in the tank of range, and then I'll head 5 kilometers down the road and it'll say that I've used up 100 kilometers worth of range in that time. And it's a matter of stopping the bike and putting it on the center stand and restarting it. And then other times I'll fill it up, or it won't even be full. I'll roll it out of the shed and it'll have 3/4 of tank in it, and it'll be flashing its warning light at me saying that I need to fill it up immediately. So that's problematic. Anyway, I called MCAS. I bought this at MCAS in Keilor, and I didn't really fancy taking it across to MCAS in Keilor, so I called the closest one to me, which is in Dandenong, and they just never got back to me, ever. They said that they would follow it up and book me in, and they never called me back, ever. So I got on the CFMOTO Australia website and I used the chat function, and they got back to me straight away. And I said in my preferences there that I didn't want to deal with the people in Pakenham who I'd dealt with previously, because it just had left such a sour taste in my mouth. So to give you some context around that, not long after I bought the bike, I dropped into the CFMOTO dealership in Pakenham, which has subsequently been sold, I think. So I don't want to put this onto the new CFMOTO dealership there. And the fella behind the counter said, "Oh, where'd you get your bike?" And I explained to him that I'd bought it off MCAS and that it had been sold cheaply because it was one of the ones that we used at the MotoGP at Phillip Island. And he sort of he was understandably upset, if I could put it that way, because MCAS had been able to get hold of these bikes and massively undercut what he was able to sell his new bikes at. So I could really see his point, and I really empathized with him. So I felt a bit taken back, because I felt like that was pointed at me, and perhaps if I'd known better I would have spent the extra $3,000 or $4,000 to buy it off him. Like, I've got that sort of money to throw around. But I committed to getting my servicing done with him and getting whatever I needed done there, and I did. So I got my 10,000k 12-month service done there. I bought the top box there, which this didn't come with, and I also approached him the first time round, and they did the replacement when the fuel sensor died the first time. When I booked the fuel sensor in to get done, they were also unhappy with me, so they didn't want me to get it done there, and a fella from the back came out when I was picking this up from getting the service done, and I sort of queried why they were a bit hesitant to do that job, and he said, well, you didn't buy the bike here, and we only get paid 2 hours of labour to do it, and it's a massive job. But I went ahead with it anyway because I sort of didn't think anything of it. Anyway, the fuel sensor went well. The bike's been fantastic. The trip over to Perth was just the absolute time of my life. I haven't been the same since then because I just want to do another motorbike trip. I did notice on the fourth day, if you've watched the videos, you'll see that I'm parked in a parking lot in Adelaide, and I adjusted the preload on the rear suspension, and I did notice back then that this bolt had been broken. I just edited it out of the video, unfortunately, but having said that, I didn't notice that these two fastenings here had also broken, which I wish I had of, because when I got the bike back from being transported back from Perth, I did the shakedown, made the video, and yeah, like I said, I got onto CFMOTO. I said, look, put me through to any dealer except for Pakenham. I don't want to deal with them again. If I have to take it back to where I bought it from, it'll be a pain because it'll mean I'll have to take probably a couple of days off work, but you got to do what you got to do. And who'd they put me through to? Pakenham. So I spoke to the new owner of the Pakenham store and explained the situation to him. And he said, look, we can probably help you out with the fuel sensor, but because I've ridden the bike to Perth and had it shipped back, then he's not really willing to look at replacing how these have been broken here. And we kind of reached a bit of a stalemate because I guess I can see his point. Yes, this bike has been used. That was a 4,500 kilometre trip that I did right after this got repaired. But I never thought that using the motorbike was a means to void the warranty. So anyway, he wasn't keen on helping me out. Hey guys, it's Editing Ben here. I probably didn't quite make the point that I was trying to make there, so I thought I'd try again. Basically what I wanted to say is that as far as I'm concerned, there's three ways those bolts could have snapped that part of the fairing. The first is if I did something untoward to them. So if I was, for some reason, taking them in and out or had put too much pressure on them, and I can honestly say that I haven't done that at any stage. The second one was that they broke under normal use, so I don't see how that voids the warranty. So all I did was ride on mostly sealed roads from my home here in Victoria all the way over to Perth, and they broke. The final, and what I think is the most likely of the three ways that those bolts could have broken the plastics, is in the process of undoing those bolts to get the plastics off, to remove the fuel tank, to replace the fuel sensor, they were over torqued when they were put back on, which snapped the plastic. Therefore, I think they should be replaced. I sort of don't think there's any way to get around that. Anyway, I'll get back to the video. I've since left some messages again with MCAS, haven't called me back, frustratingly. I might try the CFMOTO Australia website again. I mean, otherwise the bike's running fine. I haven't had much of an opportunity to ride it lately, unfortunately. But I suppose there are two problems that I'd really like resolved, and they probably speak to maybe a problematic dealer network. I mean, they're pretty straightforward things and they're not big complaints. I'd just like someone to take some accountability for the issues that have gone wrong with this otherwise very good bike and sort them out for me without, I don't know, providing undue stress. Because I've otherwise been pretty glowing about this bike, and I've stressed that in my videos, and I stressed that to the previous owner of the motorbike shop in Pakenham, that I love the bike, I'm willing to give you my money, I'm willing to, support local business. I don't know, maybe I'm being too hard on people. Maybe I'm expecting too much. I know that with my Nissan, I've had some warranty claims in for that, and they definitely haven't been as painful. They've just been taken care of. So, yeah, it's really, I don't know. And I'm also one of these people, I'd rather find every other alternative than taking something back. So I'll often live with things for years, or just throw it out, or try to recycle it and buy something new than actually get it sorted out. So it's really frustrating. The one time that I do try to get something sorted out under warranty, I seem to have been getting a little bit of pushback. But anyway, I'd love to know what you think, whether or not you think I should keep pushing forward with this, or whether or not I should just suck it up and live with it. I'd be really interested to hear your opinions, because like I said, I don't have a great deal of experience in following up with warranties, so would love your advice. Anyway, I hope that provides some context for what's been going on. I'll talk to you soon.